The spark of rebellion. How matchsticks ignited a historic strike. In the heart of the Victorian era, amidst the grandeur and opulence, there was a story that burned bright, yet was overshadowed by the darkness of its time. Today, we delve into the tale of the Matchstick Ladies. John Walker was an English chemist and druggist from Stockton-on-Tees. He was not particularly looking to invent the matchstick. Rather, he stumbled upon it while conducting experiments. In 1826, Walker was working with a mix of chemicals, trying to produce a lighting source. One day, he noticed a dried lump at the end of a stick he'd used to stir his mixtures. When he tried to scrape off the lump against the hearth, it ignited. This accidental discovery led him to further experiment with different chemical combinations to find the most effective and reliable one. After refining his formula, Walker developed the first prototype of the friction match, which he called friction lights. These were made by attaching to the ends of wooden splints or sticks a mixture of sulfide, antimony, chlorate, potash, gum, and starch. The matches were sold with a piece of sandpaper, which was used to strike the match and produce the flame. Walker began selling his friction lights in his pharmacy in Stockton-on-Tees in April 1827. They were sold in boxes, each containing matches and a piece of sandpaper for striking. Although they were a bit pricier than other methods of lighting fires at the time, they gained popularity due to their convenience. Interestingly, Walker never patented his invention. He believed that the benefit to humanity was more important than personal profit. This decision allowed others to produce and sell similar matches, and he died almost penniless in 1859. Jump to 1860, and the matchmaking industry took a dark turn. Research from the Bayonet Medical Center and the Beacon Head and Neck Clinic reveals that during this period, many major matchstick factories introduced phosphorus into the previously sulfur-only paste used for making matches. This addition was meant to produce a larger, more luminous flame, which was a win for consumers. However, it spelled disaster for those in production. As match manufacturing expanded to an industrial level, enormous containers filled with this phosphorus-infused mixture became the norm. These containers emitted hazardous vapors. Tragically, workers exposed to these fumes began experiencing severe health issues within just 3 to 5 years. The matchstick girls typically worked at desks equipped with a tray warmed from below. They would dissolve sticks made of the phosphorus mixture in water, and then dip the matchsticks into this solution. As they labored over these trays, the factory atmosphere became saturated with the emitted vapors. It was these very fumes that led to the onset of a medical condition known as Phossy Jaw. Approximately 11% of the women working in matchstick factories, often referred to as matchstick women, developed a severe and debilitating condition due to their exposure to white phosphorus. Describing this ailment as merely unpleasant would be a gross understatement. The condition, known as Phossy Jaw, primarily affected the mouth and jaw because these soft tissues were the most vulnerable and direct pathways for phosphorus to infiltrate the body. The initial symptoms were subtle but distressing. Women would experience toothaches, which might have seemed ordinary at first. However, as the condition progressed, it became evident that this was no ordinary dental issue. Teeth would begin to loosen and eventually fall out. Painful abscesses would form, leading to the discharge of pus from gaping holes in the face. In some extreme cases, these holes were so extensive that the decaying bone of the jaw was visible through them. But the horrors didn't end there. Phosphorus, which derives its name from the Greek word meaning light bearer, has a luminescent quality. If a significant amount of phosphorus had accumulated in a person's body, the exposed and decaying bones would eerily glow in the dark. This not only added a terrifying visual aspect to the condition, but also served as a stark reminder of the toxic environment these women were subjected to daily. The effects of this condition were both physically and psychologically devastating, but could also be fatal, highlighting the dire need for improved working conditions and safety standards in the industrial era. In the late 19th century, the Bryant and May match factory in Bow, London, was one of the largest employers of women and girls in the city. The working conditions were deplorable. Workers faced poor wages, long hours and health risks, including the dreaded Phossy Jaw. In June 1888, Annie Besant wrote an article titled White Slavery in London in her weekly newspaper, The Link. The article exposed the terrible working conditions at the Bryant and May factory. While Besant wasn't the initiator of the strike, her article brought significant attention to the plight of the match girls. Shortly after the article was published, the factory management tried to force their workers to sign a statement denying the claims made in Besant's article. When the workers refused, one of them was fired, which led to around 1,400 workers walking out in protest. This spontaneous action turned into a full-blown strike. The strike gained significant public attention and sympathy. With the support of Besant and other activists, the match girls formed a match girls union. After 3 weeks of striking, the management of the Bryant and May factory agreed to several of the workers' demands. This included the abolition of fines for trivial offences, like talking, dropping matches, or having dirty feet, the provision of a separate room for eating, so workers didn't have to eat next to the toxic white phosphorus, and the end of the searching of workers, among other improvements like better pay. The use of white phosphorus was eventually banned in 1901. The Match Girls' strike is considered a significant event in the British labour movement. It demonstrated the power of collective action and the importance of media in highlighting social injustices. The success of the relatively unorganised and unskilled workers inspired other labour movements and strikes in the following years. While Annie Besant's role in the strike was primarily as a journalist and supporter, her article and subsequent support played a crucial role in bringing attention to the match girls' plight and helping them achieve their demands. John Walker's inadvertent discovery not only lit up the 19th century, but also paved the way for innovations that continue to brighten our lives today. And there you have it, the incredible journey from John Walker's invention to the courageous strike of the Matchstick Ladies. A story that reminds us how even the smallest spark can ignite a monumental change.